everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Fleet Fatale, an online speedrunning event organized by Games Done Quick's all women speedrunning community. Frame Fatale, which is happening all week on Twitch from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time every day. We've had some wonderful runs, and we've also gotten the pleasure to talk to some lovely ladies who've been working with Malala Fund, which is the fund that we are benefiting this week. So today I am here with Katie Houck, right? Katie Houck.
Yes.
Double checking again. How are you
You
today,
nailed it.
Katie? Thank you.
Doing great. So glad to be here. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I've got some tea. It's a nice afternoon.
Okay,
Can't
great.
complain. We have speed runs to watch. Okay, quick question. Have you ever watched speed runs before?
No, this is my first time watching it, and I'm completely blown away. Like the scale of it, like I had never even comprehended that as an event, but I've really loved watching it. And to see such familiar games too. I might be jumping the gun a bit, but I loved playing Super Mario Bros. And Legend of Zelda. So it's so fun to see those games again, and then to see people play them so well and so fast. So it's really cool.
Right. And in ways that you never expected. Like speedrunning is
Right.
fascinating to me. And that's part of what got me into it as well, is you're like, these are games that I've loved growing up. And then suddenly they've just been transformed into a totally different experience, even though it's the same game. It's crazy. Well, that's really cool. I'm glad you've been having a good time with it. Now, with Malala Fund, you are the business development officer, if I'm correct.
Yes, I am.
So tell me a little bit about what goes into that for you, like day to day.
Sure. So it's a really exciting role. What I do is I work on the fundraising team, and I help explore new partnerships for Malala Fund. So that's people, individuals, that's corporations, institutions, and working to find fun events like this where supporters can help us. So it's a really exciting job. So day to day, it's really cool because every day is different. It's full of fun conversations. Of meeting new people, getting to share Malala's work, and really finding the ways that we can connect to better advance girls' education. So I'm very biased, but it's a very fun job. I really love it.
So what got you into that? Like, what is kind of your history, maybe before Malala Fund, and then what inspired you to work with Malala Fund?
Sure. I think I'm unique in that I think I've always really liked fundraising. I know asking for money can seem intimidating, but I think it's really quite fun, and the worst that people can do is say no. And that kind of helps, at least me, kind of center my approach to it. But it's a wonderful way to meet people and to, get to know fantastic people doing great human rights work. So for me, I've been in fundraising for a number of years now, and girls' education has always been super important. To me, I grew up loving school, loving reading, and having the privilege to have a great education, and just being very aware that that's not the norm and not the experience, and certainly not for girls most of the time and some of the time. So for me, it's a real privilege to get to work on Malala Fund that focuses on education because it's so close to my heart.
That's great. Was it just something that you had heard of, or was there an opportunity like presented to you in some way, or?
Yeah, I think for me, and I know this is probably true for so many of my colleagues, also just being so inspired by Malala and her incredible story, her activism, and the way at such a young age she's really taken up the mantle of girls' education. So not only was it just an opportunity in girls' education, but of course the opportunity to work in an organization dedicated to Malala's vision specifically was an incredible opportunity. So that made it even more exciting.
That's great. Okay, and you mentioned that you loved reading. Do you have any just real quick, like, favorite series?
Oh my goodness, I have so many. Of course, I grew up just with the 90s. I grew up loving Harry Potter. That's something I've read over and over again. Lord of the Rings. There's a common theme here. I love a good, super long, fantasy series. It's always my favorite place. And lately, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks with the pandemic inside. That's been a new thing I've been doing. That's been a little bit easier than sitting down to read a huge book. But.
Audiobooks are fantastic. Okay, good. I'm like totally on the same page with you right now with like fantasy and audiobooks. Anyway,
fun.
So back to more Malala Fund. So we've been hearing a number of these stories from the assembly, and I've noticed that there's definitely a theme where so many of your favorite experiences, for those of you who work with Malala Fund, come from the assembly. And so I was wondering if you had a story that you wanted to share.
Yeah, so definitely check out Assembly, everyone. It's our digital newsletter that amplifies the stories of girls worldwide. So Malala Fund, we work in 8 countries, but this is really a platform that we see as a meeting place for girls everywhere. We're sharing their stories, and you'll learn about, girls and really exciting things you would have never found out about. So for me, Assembly, the stories are great, but I love just hearing about these incredible women and girls doing things that wouldn't have never crossed my mind. So I think my favorite article that we've done recently is around this is last year, Pakistan's first all-female racing team. Which one? I don't
Racing?
know a lot about. Yeah, racing. So like student formula competing in a racing competition. So I already explored because I don't know much about racing. That seems very intense. You have to, build the car. You're competing against global teams, and then in Pakistan too, kind of overcoming social norms around women being involved in driving and leading and things like this, and securing the funding and all of the incredible work to even compete in an event like this. So that's one that always really stuck with me, just because I never even thought of that kind of competition and how cool it is that girls were able to get together, get the funding themselves, and compete and really excel. So tons of great things like that. I would really recommend it.
Wow. So they got all their funding themselves. Like, okay, so what was your involvement? So you're amplifying the stories of this, right? So you're receiving the stories and then publishing them so that people like have more eyes on it.
Yes, and I think one of the things that makes Assembly really cool is it's because it is worldwide. It's the stories of girls from over 100 countries, and then in over
Oh,
19
wow.
languages. So it's grown quite a bit. And this year, it's award winning, which we're quite proud of. But I think part of why it's become so distinguished is because it really is bringing so many stories from all over the globe, and we work with the girls to tell them. And to frame their stories, and so it's really cool. I would really recommend it. It's a really fun read.
Yeah, again, I've already heard a lot of really interesting things, and it makes me want to like Google people and like read on the assembly,
Yeah.
which is great. So it means that you're promoting all these stories of like really wonderful things. So thanks for more
Yeah.
information on that. And I feel like it's also important to touch a bit more on something that's been mentioned this week, but we could get more info on, which is Malala Fund working more against COVID, because I know that there's big numbers associated with that and big things and changes that you all have been making to try and help more. Can you elaborate on that for me?
Yeah, sure. And first, just to say thank you so much because, as you've alluded to, advancing girls' education has taken on even more of an urgency in responding to COVID. So, this event and what you guys are doing is so important. So, we really appreciate you guys and all that you're doing. In response to COVID, I mean, it's a crisis in every way, right? But it's certainly a huge education crisis. And the unfortunate reality of that is that women and girls are going to be disproportionately affected, and certainly girls in marginalized communities or communities that already had huge barriers to education. And that's where we work. We already work in countries where more girls are out of school and there are more barriers. So right now, Malala Fund works in Lebanon and Turkey. We work in India and Brazil, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and then Afghanistan and Pakistan. So we're in these 8 countries. And what we did in response to COVID is we looked at our kind of education champions. This is our main way that we work. We partner with these local champions or education advocates that are doing incredible work in their community to advance girls' education. They're on the ground, they know how to solve these problems, and they're doing incredible work that we want to shine a light on and support. And so we have over 60 champions. And when this crisis came up, we decided our best role would be to partner with them even further. We already have this great network. And we wanted to do a few things. First, we wanted to keep girls learning while schools were closed, right? And this is something so many people now are experiencing that they haven't before. Everyone around the world isn't going to school. And what are the needs of girls in these communities to make sure that they can still learn safely while schools are closed? But then also looking ahead, because unfortunately what data tells us is that girls are going to have a harder time going back to school after this crisis. And that sets back girls' education progress significantly. And so we're also partnering with our champions, not only to do things like distributing radios, launching apps, meeting girls where they're at to give them their lessons, but also how can we re-enroll them in school? How can we make sure that they're at the center of recovery efforts, and ultimately the education systems are more resilient so that when something, unfortunately, there's going to be a global something in the future, how can we make sure that we're prepared and that girls aren't able to come back to school and learn and lead after. So we're partnering with our champions that are doing, again, just really incredible work. As an example, one of our champions, Kiki James, is in Nigeria. And her organization is distributing radios because in Nigeria, that's one of the best ways to
Right.
reach girls. You can be in a rural area and have lessons over radio. So her charity is doing fantastic work to make sure that girls get STEM lessons, math, reading and writing, and radios, especially in those more remote areas that would have a harder time anyway. And again, we're kind of the locally led change of the champions and the crisis is even more important. So we've launched over 20 projects like Kiki's that are very different and individualized that are saying this is what our community needs at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's really changed our whole, we had the framework, but obviously we're doing everything we can to respond to a crisis of this magnitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you've done so much, and I do remember hearing about the radios being handed out. I think that's a wonderful thing. Well, thank you so much for your work with Malala Fund, and thank you so much for speaking with me today. It's great to hear more about what you do and all the assembly things
Yeah.
and all of that. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great to meet you. Thanks
Yeah,
everyone. Really
same.
appreciate your support.
Yeah, well, have a wonderful rest of your day, Katie. Thanks again for speaking with us, and we are going to be handing it off to Sense so you all can hear about some prizes for today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fleet Fatale's Online 2020. My name is Sent, and I hope you are all ready for a day of speed runs full of games that go fast and feature fast animals. I certainly am. I have my blue Sonic shirt on. I've got blue Sonic curtains. I've got Sonic. And I've got tons of great Sonic prizes to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into them. Now, this first one, we're going to take a little bit of a detour here, but it's a book that I love so much, I just had to have it as a prize, and I had to share it all with you. For a $5 minimum donation from the Legends of Localization team and Fangamer, we have Press Start to Translate. Press Start to Translate is a super cool book from Clyde Mandelin and the Legends of Localization team that asks the question, well, why can't you just put a game like Final Fantasy IV straight in a translation engine and have it print out the text and go from there? I mean, what could go wrong? Translation has gotten so good in recent years. I'm sure that a machine could do it. And, well, the results aren't great. One of my favorite anecdotes from this book, actually, is about Odin's signature attack, Zantetsuken. Zantetsuken, of course, an attack known for instant killing in most of the Final Fantasy games, and is generally left untranslated as a reference to the mythological/historical sword of the same name. Of course, the machine doesn't know that, and it tries to translate it into some pretty silly ways, giving things like give up or historical sword. Plenty of cool stuff in there. Again, it's a $5 minimum donation. Thank you so much to Fangamer and the Legends of Localization team for sending that out to us. Now, from Mirai Lindsay, we have this absolutely beautiful Witcher print. This is a block print set on black paper. It's absolutely beautiful. The contrast on it is great. It says, "What are we doing? Killing monsters." I love it. It's a $10 minimum donation. Thank you so much, Mirai Lindsay, for sending this to us. Super cool. Set that aside real quick. Now, speaking about Sonic, from our friend Puzzle P, we have this absolutely beautiful Sonic painting here. We got the silhouette of Sonic the Hedgehog surrounded by a bunch of blue doodles that leave negative space that say all kinds of things related to Sonic, like fast and speed and Sonic, and Puzzle P's signature on there as well. It's a super cool prize. Again, I really love Puzzle P's style. It reminds me of those high school, middle school notebook doodles that you might do while you were a little bored in class, but just taken to a beautiful artistic level. It's a $10 minimum donation. Thank you so much, Puzzle P. And from our good friend Vats of Goop, we have this beautiful holographic Sonic poster, styled kind of after Sonic Mania. We got Sonic running right at the camera. You can see it a little bit in the lights there. It's got a kind of holographic 90s effect to it. You can see it shimmering a little bit. It's a $10 minimum donation. It's pretty cool. Thank you so much, Vats of Goop, for sending that out to us. Now, for a $15 minimum donation, we have a pretty cool Sonic prize pack here. So included in the pack are this pair of Sonic slippers themed after Sonic's running shoes. They are just, some super comfy slippers here that you can slip on. They're probably not going to make you any faster, but they're definitely cool and cozy. We have a lovely Sonic blanket here, themed after Green Hill Zone. It's going to be a little too big for me to unfold all the way, but you can kind of get the gist of it with this bottom rung here, and you can see a great picture of it over at gamesdonequick.com on the tracker. And in addition to all of that, you get this Sonic plush. You get Sonic plush to go with it. It is a comfy Sonic bundle. It's a $15 minimum donation, but if you win, you get the slippers, you get the blanket, and you get this Sonic plush. Now, from our friend Cute Monster Props, we have a pretty cool prop here. We have a classic Sonic styled Chaos Emerald here in a deep green, as you can see. Now, the emerald itself is a green tinted resin with an automotive finish covering it to give it this kind of a glass-like shine and reflection you can see, and then covered in a layer of plastic for protection. And it comes with a display base that's kind of based off the bumpers from the classic Sonic games. It's super cool, and don't worry, because if you're like Knuckles and you're worried that someone might steal your emerald, well, it easily detaches from its base for transport and handling, and we can actually get a nice shot of the base there. It's got that Sonic bumper star on it. You know, just stick it right back on, and we're good. It's a $25 minimum donation today, so make sure to get those donations again. Again, thank you so much, Cute Monster Props, for this. And of course, we cannot talk about prizes without talking about our grand prize, a piece of synthetic alexandrite cut into the shape of a Triforce. It's so cool. Now, if you'll take a look down here, we have a great video close-up of it spinning around so you can kind of see the different faces and shining in the light. Now, if you'll see in the video, it's a very deep blue. But I have the gemstone here, and I kind of want to show it to the camera because one of the cool features of alexandrite, synthetic and natural, is that it changes color under different lights. So in the video, that is under a very white light source, and it's a very deep blue. But my living room studio is full of bright yellow incandescent lights, and as a result, whoops, tripped on some cabling. As a result, you can see that the gemstone itself, hopefully this will focus in, is a very deep purple or red here. Oh, it's not going to focus this time, unfortunately. That's a shame. I apologize about that. One of the downsides of running your own tech, can't focus the camera. But it is super cool. You could kind of see it was a little purple tinted there. Hopefully I'll have a better solution for showing that off tomorrow. But you could see it down in the lower right of your screen. Absolutely beautiful gemstone. Would look beautiful set into some jewelry, I'm sure. It's a $100 minimum donation, but that's cumulative throughout the entire week. So that means $25 today is going to get you into everything I just talked about. It's going to get you into all of the books, all of the prints, the painting, as well as that Sonic prize pack and that green Chaos Emerald. $25 3 other times during the marathon, and you are entered into that grand prize. Now, as always, remember, you can head over to gamesdonequick.com at any time, and you're going to be able to find all the information you need on upcoming speed runs in the event, on upcoming incentives that you can put your donations towards, because again, remember, you don't have to donate specifically for the prizes, and of course, on upcoming prizes you can donate to win. I'm going to sit down here and get comfy as we get ready for a great day of speed runs, have myself a cup of tea. I know some of you wrote in after AGDQ said I was drinking tea wrong. I needed to drink it from a glass and not straight out of the bag. I understand now. Yeah, you see, this is much more sophisticated. So let's throw it back up into the front with Kung Fu as we get ready for Cow the Kangaroo. Oh, that's some good tea.
Hello, and thank you, Sent. I'm sorry, I just don't recall that thing about tea, but I love that. I'm drinking tea as well, and I'm doing it from a mug. Who would have thought? Well, welcome back, everybody. Hope you're all doing wonderful. And we are getting set up now for our KO the Kangaroo 3 All Artifacts run. This is by Riven. Very excited for that, coming up very shortly. Don't forget, we also have some wonderful incentives and bid wars happening right now for games coming up today. For example, right after KO, we have Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited, and you can choose between Sonic and Tails, Knuckles and Tails, or Tails category. So make sure to get your donations in so that we can see which character choice we will be going with for that. At the moment, it looks like Tails alone is in the lead by about $40. So definitely a good time to get some donations in for that. We're going to get in a quick donation. We have an anonymous $10 donation that says, "So they're finally here, performing for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you want to clap as we take you through this speed run rap. Fleet Fatales." Anyway, thank you for bearing with me for that. We will be right back after a quick Twitch ad. Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. We are just about ready for our KO the Kangaroo 3 run. But real quick, we'll get in a few donations for you. We have a $2 donation from Ren who said, $2 donation train. And then an additional $2 from Ren who said, choo choo. Donation trains are a wonderful thing. It's only a small amount from all of you, but it helps a ton for Malala Fund.